Ron here. And today I'd like to talk about going out and doing things in the world, doing activism out in the world. So, I worked or have worked in the past with a lot of organizations here in Springfield. Off the top of my head, there's the local Black Lives Matter chapter, there's the local the local DNC chapter, there's the local Indivisible chapter, there's a Illinois-based group called the Faith Coalition for the Common Good that I worked with a lot, used to work with a lot. There's not the DSA, but another socialist party made up of a bunch of people who were involved with the Occupy movement here in Springfield. I meandered around with them for a little bit. There are probably another dozen or so affiliated organizations that go in and out and do different things. I do stuff, is what I'm saying. And sometimes when I do that, sometimes when I tell people that, not very often, but sometimes people will tell me that I'm wasting my time, or worse, that I'm some sort of class traitor for working to prop up unjust systems. Which I always want to ask those people whether or not they live in the real world. And I understand that that's a super condescending thing to say, but, actions have consequences, and that includes inaction. I'm not a big fan of, for example, blaming anyone in the electorate for the election of Donald John fucking Trump to the President of the United States. But, if you had more people who were doing more stuff for Clinton, then it might not have turned out like that. And bear in mind that how it turned out was that Donald Trump lost the popular vote by about 3 million votes. That's about 1% of the population. That's a substantial number. And now, the stock market crashed yesterday, I heard. That's not good. Things aren't going to fix themselves, because these things don't fix themselves. I understand that it's not ignorance that makes people on the left so cynical. It's the opposite of that. The understanding that we are not in control of our society, that no one is in control of society, that we've handed over control of our society to these giant monolithic systems with no one at the head, no one at the mast, no one steering, and now they're all falling off of a cliff into a lake of fucking fire. I get that. When you realize that's how things are, it's fucking scary. It's like, what do I do? Do I grab a bucket? I don't think me and my bucket of water is gonna help. But, it's not just you. It's not... You're not gonna do that by yourself. I promise you that no matter where you are, no matter what your situation is, there are people where you are that want to make the world a better place. Find those people and help each other. There's this problem on the left. There's a problem. It's a larger problem in our society, but it's especially bad on the left, where people have this mentality that being on the left means they alone are the ones facing down the system. It's them versus the world. And that's poisonous. That's not just poisonous in that it's not good for your mental well-being, speaking from experience, but also not good in that that's the opposite of what we need to be doing. The thing that differentiates the left from the right, and one of the bigger things, at least as far as praxis goes, is that, the right has money, But we have, let's say, people power. We have people power. We have dozens, maybe 100 times as many people that are willing to get up and go out and to do things as the right does. And we don't even get paid for it. We're people of conscience. Most people are people of conscience, I feel, but it takes something personal to really convince someone, most of the time. And the idea that if you're a person on the left, that you're the one who has to stare down the system, to look into the eyes of the abyss and say, dude, have you considered some blush? I don't know, what do you say to the abyss? No. We work together. That's the point of the thing. Let them let the capitalists and the fucking fascists work on their own. Let them do their shit. We've got to work together here. And sometimes that means working with organizations that you might not entirely agree with. Sometimes that means working with organizations that you might not entirely agree with. Like, the Democratic Party. I don't like the Democrats. I don't think anyone likes the Democrats. But the alternative to that is Trump. Or at least, like, on a local level, the alternative is people who are working in the same vein as Trump. Spreading xenophobia, spreading hatred of the other, and working to oppress people. Not fun stuff. There are legitimate reasons to be hesitant to go out and do the activisming. I know that if you live in a state like mine that has right-to-work laws, you can just get fired on the spot for doing activist work. If your boss sees you on the news and it's kaput, like, I've heard of that happening. That's a legitimate worry. And there are people who are in the gender and sexual minority spectrum, LGBT people, LGBTQIA plus people. If they're afraid of being outed in some capacity, then, like, that's a legitimate concern too. If you're worried about your safety in any capacity, then, like, I'm not gonna fault you for not doing things. You do what you have to do. You can't help anyone if you're not taking care of yourself. But if you're just anxious, not medically anxious, but just you're worried about how people will feel about you, then I'd say go. Find some leftist organization in the city you're in, or just a couple of leftist people, and make an organization. It's knowing that there are other people that are out there with me. That's what keeps me going sometimes. And I don't know. Sometimes I think maybe we could use some more of that. So that's all I've got to say. Next video is going to be about ideas as tools and some other stuff. So, until we get there, take care of yourselves, alright?